Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Parlay here on Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on television. We are in week 4. If it was the old 16-game season, we'd be a quarter of the way through by the end of this week, but we got 17 games now, so there's a lot already on the line. If your team is 0-3 like one of mine, it's going to be a tough go at it. We're going to try our best to find you guys a way to victory here in fantasy football. We're going to go over every single game, pick all of the winners. We're going to go against the spreads, the overs, the unders. We're going to give you guys some guys to put on your bench and some guys that just might be flying under the radar that you can use to win in your weekly fantasy or your daily fantasy. Without further ado, fresh off of a Friday giant overreaction, it's the man, the myth, the legend, the best co-host in the entire universe. The door is open, my friend. Come on in, Mr. Awthentik.
The universe, huh? I like that, man. That's what's up, man. Big shout out to the guy, man. Yeah, you talked about your 0-3 fantasy team, man. Yeah, I'm struggling in our league, and we got a good matchup this week, man. I'm hoping I can get this W against you.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Beard is going against Awthentik this week in our fantasy football league.
Favored by 2 points in that game too, man. I didn't like that. You remember when the Yahoo draft grades came out? They gave me an F grade, and I was like, "What the hell is Yahoo talking about, man? Awthentik knows ball." Here I am sitting at 0-3, just trying to get my first victory. This is 2 years in a row I've started out 0-3 in that league.
It's tough, man. It's you get one injury, you get one bad break, and the next thing you know, I looked at my team, with the league I'm 0-3 in, I'm literally it's the first game I lost by the kicker on Evan McPherson, I think the kicker was. He kicked 6 field goals or something stupid like that. I lost on a kicker in 1 week, and then the next week I lost by 3, and then this last week I lost by 5 or something like that on I forget who it was.
It's just Beard. It's been bad. And then I took some fantasy advice from a buddy of mine for week 3. At the quarterback position. That didn't work out. And ended up.
How big was the point differential between Aaron Rodgers?
20. Aaron Rodgers. No, Aaron Rodgers and C.J. Stroud. It was 9. It was about 9.
Got you. So listen, if you guys do want some advice from some buddies, your buddies, my buddy, our buddies and me, if we're here at Awthentik and The Beard, make sure you guys drop all of your fantasy football questions in the chat. We are here to answer all of your questions. We love to do that. The first couple of weeks, we've been answering about 25 to 30 questions per show. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and share the stream out to all your buddies. Don't be afraid if you're playing them in fantasy football. We answer all advice. That's just what we do here. But we got a couple of quick early questions. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate all the love and all support as always. There's a guy, and he's here. He's here early, and he's got the first question 99% of the time. That is our guy, your guy, everybody's guy, Mr. Juan Pena Jr. He says, "Hola, wide receiver 1 and 2, running back 1 and 2, and flex." So we're basically picking a whole lineup here almost. We got five players to pick here. His wide receivers to choose from are DJ Moore, Jawan Jennings, Calvin Ridley, Jalen Naylor. Wandell was on the bench. He's a guy that might be available in a lot of leagues. I think people should start picking him up. He's getting a lot of volume in those PPR full points. He might be a guy. Running backs, Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker, Jerome Ford, Josh Jacobs. And he also has some tight ends to throw in the mix. George Kittle and Cole Kmet. Go Irish, big win yesterday. All right. What are you looking at here, Awthentik? What are you thinking?
I like running back wise. I like Josh Jacobs and Kyron Williams. Give me George Kittle at the tight end position.
Well, you don't have to pick a tight end. You just
give it to me in the flex then.
Flex,
and then because the wide receivers are not high end. You already had Wandale on your bench. And then I'm putting DJ Moore in my lineup today. I think it's just somebody you got to run with. Caleb Williams coming off 380 last week. Maybe he can get it together this week. Tennessee's going up against the Miami Dolphins. It should be a pretty decent game. I mean, Titans haven't been all that great. I want to go Calvin. It's definitely not Jalen Naylor. He's not getting the volume neither. Yeah, give me Calvin Ridley. Sheer volume.
Yeah. So my wide receiver 1 and 2, I'm going to go DJ Moore and Ridley. Running back 1 and 2, Breece Hall, Kyron Williams. Ooh, my flex, Josh Jacobs or George Kittle?
Flex, I'd probably go with Jacobs if you're going to go. I mean, the running, he's going to get volume today. It is still like kind of in doubt if Jordan Love's going to start or not, but either way, I'd imagine him at least getting in the end zone, better chances.
I'll go Josh Jacobs in the flex as well. San Francisco's getting a lot of guys back this week, so it should be interesting to see how that happens. With Naylor, I love Jalen Naylor, but Addison is expected to be back this week as well, so keep your eye on that moving forward. Big shout out to Sergio in the building. Says, "What's up, fam?" Oh, these are always fun because teams get crazy. You're in an 8-team PPR league. He's 0-3. Started Singletary. Singletary killed me in my parlays, by the way, in that game. Achane or Kenneth Walker. And then the same team, he says, is if Olave is out, who should I start? Jackson Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers, or Scary Terry? Thanks, guys. Best content always. We appreciate you, Sergio. Listen, this is a tough one here. Kenneth Walker appears to be on track to play today. I'm always a little, worried about starting people fresh off of an injury. I think Achane has a bigger upside. I'm pretty sure Detroit's rushing defense is pretty good, if I'm not mistaken, especially in comparison to their pass defense. Achane, they're going to be starting Snoop at quarterback, which I love, by the way. But I think he's in a better spot to get more volume, even if Mostert is back. I think when Mostert is there, it actually helps Achane. His production, maybe not the volume, but his production seems to go
different tempo, running back and whatnot. Yeah.
Exactly. If Olave's out, it's a little tough for me. Zay Flowers, I love Zay Flowers, but those games can be so hit or miss sometimes. Very similar to Scary Terry and probably JSN. They're all very similar. They're the boomer bust players to a certain extent.
Flowers more dependent on the quarterback, though, because if you look at last week, Lamar Jackson only had 15 attempts. And bringing in Derrick Henry into that offense is obviously going to take away touches from all the wide receivers when they have those kind of game plans where they're just relying on like a lot of read option, design quarterback runs, and then, running the rock with Derrick Henry. So I think Flowers that's the real tough part about it. They're going up against the Bills today, which should be a matchup that kind of is back and forth, present maybe some more passing attempts, but still, you make some good points.
Yeah, and then so I think I would go with Scary Terry. It's hard for me because I've been very reluctant to play Terry McLaurin in fantasy football, not just this year, but every year. No matter he's the number one receiver, but it's just always so sketchy. I think I'm gonna go Terry McLaurin in that situation if Olave is out, and then I'm gonna go Achane.
Yeah, I like your picks. I would go Scary Terry as well. I mean, the Cardinals' defense has not been that great. They relying on big plays on the defensive side of the ball and turnovers, which really won't hurt Terry McLaurin. I think he should get you at least a decent, floor for the game that he should put out there today. Maybe a touchdown somewhere around 60, 70 yards or something like that should be good enough.
All right, up next, we get to a couple more questions here before we get into our first segment. Let's see who the next question is. H is in. Oh, no, excuse me. Jaden714 says Pickens or Garrett Wilson and start one of these three running backs, Dobbins, Walker, ETN. What are you thinking about this one?
Okay, so I do like Garrett Wilson's matchup going up against the Broncos today. I do think that they can put up some points. Aaron Rodgers is really starting to stride, and I mean that dude has not really missed a beat. He looks like he's rejuvenated from the fountain of youth, to be honest. That dude has definitely been throwing the football. But George Pickens, man, he's been a guy. He's been their really Pittsburgh Steelers like only guy you can rely on as far as that wide receiver core. They don't throw the ball that much either with Justin Fields at the quarterback position, but he did have a good game last week, got the ball in the end zone one time through the air. That's a coin flip for me. The Pickens Garrett Wilson is a coin flip, and Pittsburgh has the Steelers are playing the Colts. Oh, the Colts defense has been horrendous. Give me Garrett Wilson in that matchup. And then as far as start one of the three running backs.
Well, you want Pickens because he's against the Colts.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going Pickens.
Oh, you said Garrett Wilson. That's why I want to double check.
I sized Garrett Wilson, but I picked Pickens. Running back wise, I'm going J.K. Dobbins. I think he's their main foundation of what they do on offense over there with the Chargers.
I want to pick Garrett Wilson so bad because I think that team is clicking. But I think George Pickens, and a lot of people, if you watch this show, I'm pretty I'm a George Pickens lover, but I am a Steelers quarterback hater. So I think Pickens has a big game. I actually have him in a couple of parlays going over 50 and going over 60 yards receiving. So I think you could take a risk here. Go Pickens and Dobbins. I think just Dobbins is just proven to be a guy so far off of this injury. He's giving you production. So I like Dobbins, and I'm going to go Pickens as well. Up next, H says, should I start Tony Pollard or Chuba Hubbard?
Tony Pollard for me. Easy.
Yeah, I think you go Pollard as well. I love Chuba Hubbard, but it's tough to go with a running back in Carolina. I think that for the most part, they're probably going to be down. They're probably going to be passing the ball a lot. So I'm going to go Pollard as well. And we'll get to one more before we get to our first section. There's some guys to sit, and then we'll get right back into your questions. Big shout out to our guy, Kevin at PRF. I'm going to be asking this every week. Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels?
I mean, when they faced off last week, you could argue that Joe Burrow had the better day, maybe. I mean, the completion percentage doesn't say so, but the yards definitely did. Got the ball in the end zone a ton. The Bengals today are going up against the Carolina Panthers. Eesh.
It's a tough one.
I mean, you guys are going up against the Cardinals, though. Kevin, the PRF, you're a Commanders fan. I'd ride the wave, man. Let's go Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to go Jaden Daniels, just because of the rushing. The rushing gives you the upside in fantasy. I do like Joe Burrows. I have him in a couple of parlays today for 2+ touchdowns. So I like Burrow to perform. I'm in a similar situation this week. Let me ask you, Josh Allen or Jaden Daniels?
I mean, I would take Josh Allen in that matchup every time.
Yeah, I'm going Josh Allen as well. This week made me think a little bit because of the matchups. Josh Allen against Baltimore, Jaden Daniels against Arizona.
Ravens defense is still good, but that's not that same defense from last year.
Yeah, so, all right, we're going to get back to the rest of the questions here in a minute, but up next, we're going to give you guys a couple of players that Awthentik and I think you should probably be sitting this week in fantasy football. All right, Awthentik. Who's riding the bench this week for you, Coach? Coach Thenick.
Yeah, this guy's almost on, that threshold of being cut from my team, actually. And I can say that because he hasn't had his quarterback out there, it's definitely been tough. But Romeo Doubs going up against the 49ers today, that's a tough matchup. And you got a backup quarterback, possibly, I'd say likely going to play in this one if the Green Bay Packers are smart. I wouldn't try to rush Jordan Love back out there. You've been winning some games with Malik Willis, and they do that on the ground. Malik Willis has not thrown too many attempts, has not breached 20 in both of his starts. And also, Romeo Doubs, he has not breached 8 PPR fantasy points all year long. So since week 1, he's had just 5 targets, 7 in week 1. I can't do it. The next guy, I'm kind of focusing on a lot of pass catchers today. And I'm going up against this guy in my league today against the Beard is Jalen Waddle versus Tennessee Titans. And I know now they do have Huntley at the quarterback position, which should help out a little bit. But with the quarterback struggles, he's absolutely struggled this year too. Has not had more than 5 targets all year long. The Miami Dolphins have had no explosive plays for real this year. They have just 3 receptions over 20 yards all year long. The Titans are allowing 139.3 passing yards per game right now. That's 3rd in the NFL. And say it with me, Beard, Denard Wilson. He's a problem. Everywhere he goes, pass defense is good. So I saw the Beard actually has Jalen Waddle on his bench already too. So yeah, I know you agree.
Yeah, it's tough for me, and I will tell you that I kind of thought about Waddle because I'm a Snoop guy. I would take Snoop if we're talking fantasy wise for sure. I'm taking Snoop and wide receivers over Skylar Thompson and wide receivers 9 out of 10 times.
All day long.
So that kind of made me think a little bit. I don't know. That game is probably going to be sloppy, one of those sloppy Monday night games. So yeah, it was tough.
One more guy before I pass it over to you here is tight end Mark Andrews. Man, it's I even talked about contemplating maybe trying to trade him. Now I think coming off the injury would be kind of tough, but 0 points last week. And the Ravens aren't throwing the ball that much. And you would think that when they would throw the ball that he would be in the mix. Isaiah Likely definitely taking the reins of that tight end one over there. I feel like maybe things will change in the next coming weeks, but I think you got to put Mark Andrews on the bench until then. And he's had just 8 targets in 3 games.
Tight end has been one of the toughest positions in fantasy this year. I mean, you look at some of the top drafted tight ends. It's been rough. It's been real rough. I mean, you got Kelsey, who's not doing anything remotely close to his draft position. Mark Andrews, Sam Laporta, Trey McBride. They're either banged up or they're very inconsistent. I mean, George Kittle. Brock Bowers is probably one of the best guys right now.
I almost don't even look at him as a tight end. They need to designate him as a wide receiver. I mean, they're they got what's his name, Michael Mayer over there too. So it's like,
yeah, it's been tough for the tight end position. This is some guys it's going to be tough for. Speaking of tight ends, I might as well throw another one out there. Hunter Henry. Okay, he had one really good game, and then he just kind of like is there. You would think in an offense like New England's that they would try and get to the tight end a little bit more. Unfortunately, they're going up against San Francisco. San Francisco's defense, listen, Fred Warner, everybody knows he's an absolute dog. He's a guy, right? This is a crazy number. Through the first 3 weeks, San Francisco has allowed tight ends in total, all the tight ends that have faced them, 2 tight ends on a team. For all the games so far, they've allowed 6 catches and 39 yards to the tight end position. So I'm sitting Hunter Henry this week. Another guy, Cortland Sutton. Now, Denver Broncos are coming off of an upset victory against Tampa Bay. It's going to be interesting to see what that offense can do this week. But they're going up against the Jets. That Jets defense is filled with talent, right? And a lot of people are thinking, one of those guys might get an opportunity because Sauce Gardner will shut down one person. Same thing with the opposite side of the ball with Patrick Surtain probably going to be shadowing Garrett Wilson. So Cortland Sutton is a guy I'm going to bench. New York Jets allow the fewest fantasy points to perimeter wide receivers, okay? And Cortland Sutton so far has run 82% of his routes on the perimeter. So he's a guy I'm sitting this week as well. And then last but certainly not least, I know you guys got a little bit of the preview of this when we were talking about the previews on Thursday night. Make sure you guys are checking us out every Tuesday, every Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Awthentik and The Beard. Rachaad White is a guy I'm putting on my bench. Listen, it's just tough for me. First of all, he's sick. I think he had food poisoning or something, so he's a little unwell going into this game. Now, he's averaging this is disgusting, 2.1 yards per carry on the season. Okay.
Sounds like a running back I know.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. And his attempts have gone down drastically week after week after week. Week 1, 15 attempts. Week 2, 10 attempts. Week 3, 6 attempts.
Yeah.
So,
and they've been abandoning the run a little bit as well the last couple of weeks because I think Bucky Irving over there only had 9 in the past week too. So they're just not getting – the Bucs that's been their story for a while, not being able to get the ball to their running backs.
Yeah, so it's interesting because if you look at Rachaad White's year, fantasy-wise, he put up some pretty good points. Because a lot of that, though, I think was catching the ball out of the backfield, in PPR leagues where it definitely helped him. But those are the guys that I'm going to be sitting this week, and also Awthentik. We're going to get right back into some of your questions here. My guy, your guy from the 305. I also learned about the 304 last week, thanks to Lucas's super chat. He says, I need a DraftKings sleeper under $4,000 from the Beard. There's not a lot of them out there that I really liked. I'm going pretty heavy at the wide receiver and running back positions as far as salary goes. 2 guys that I have under $4,000 this week are actually both tight ends. I'm going to give you Terry Conklin. He's $3,600 on DraftKings. Last week, he had a fantastic week with Aaron Rodgers. He had 14.3 points. He had 5 catches for 93 yards. And then the other guy I'm going to go with under $4,000 from the tight end position is going to be Brenton Strange. Tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, another week without Evan Ingram. Strange is only $3,100 against your salary cap on DraftKings. Last week, he had 9.2 points. The week before that, he had 9.5. So you're getting a good production for the amount of money that you're paying for him. He had 2 catches last week, 3 catches the week before that. Last week he had a touchdown, and then the week before that he had 65 yards. So that kind of is how he got his 9 points. So those are 2 guys under 4,000 for you, Lucas. Unfortunately, they are both tight ends.
I'd say go with my guy, man, Andre Yosivas. I'm sure he's not pushing 4K right now.
Oh, let's see
Get
what
some confirmation real quick.
Let's see what he is $4,100.
Oh, God damn. Are you kidding me?
It's a tough 4,000 is a tough threshold.
The word is out.
Kings.
Maybe last week it would have been a vibe, but the word is out now. They're like, who's this dude? Princeton? Oh, okay.
Oh, that was a great short, by the way. Big shout out to Lucas. We appreciate you, bud. Up next, Jaden B says Ramondre Stevenson or Christian Watson. Bonuses for 40 to 50-yard touchdowns and 100-plus rushing receiving yard game. The interesting one. Where are you going, Awthentik?
It's tough. I mean, with Malik Willis, you might not get those kind of bonus type of opportunities for Christian Watson, but like Ramondre Stevenson has not been good. I mean, and to me, right now, I think that Antonio Gibson is clearly the better back. Like, Antonio Gibson wears number 4, right? And I was talking with a bunch of my buddies in my Twitter group chat, like when that last Patriots game was going on. They're like, who's this young kid, number 4? He's dynamic. Because all the young boys wear the single digits and whatnot. I'm like, man, that's Antonio Gibson, bro. So, like, I wish we had another option here. I guess I'm going to go Christian Watson, I guess.
I have to look something up really fast here.
Patriots are going up against the 49ers. I mean, that's
it. That's
going to
what
be
I was
tough,
looking
right?
up. Thank you. You knew exactly where I was going. Let's go,
Yeah,
Christian Watson. We'll go Christian Watson. Up next, big shout out to Ryan Schmier. Says, "What's up, guys? Need to play 2 of the following. Brandon Ayuk." Did you see the clip? People be sizing things. You see the clip?
I didn't even understand. It's like you got the caption, and then I'm looking at the video, and I'm just like, what's going on here?
I think it was just because he had the wrong color shorts on.
Yeah.
People love to size stuff. Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings off of a huge game.
Remember when they had the fantasy question last week about Jawan Jennings?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Hey, I mean, we were hitting. I was telling people about Deontay Johnson. Everybody's looking at me like I was crazy. Deontay Johnson went a little crazy. We had some nice ones last week, Mr. Awthentik. Good job. Jawan Jennings, Zay, who's going to give me my flowers? Tony Pollard or Baker or Caleb at quarterback. Appreciate you guys. Ooh. Keep it real. All right, we'll start here. 2 of the following, okay? Ayuk and Jennings, Deebo Samuel's back. How much of that does that affect? And George Kittle. I think Jennings' targets are just going to go down. So I like Ayuk. Flowers and Pollard is really where I'm like back and forth on. I think you have to play Zay Flowers. It's going to be a big game. This is the thing. Baltimore-Buffalo is either going to be 19-16 or it's going to be 36-31. That's where you're kind of looking when those Buffalo-Baltimore games. I'm going to go Zay Flowers and Ayuk. I'm going to go Baker at quarterback. I just, listen, it's tough for me. I want to play Caleb. I think a lot of people think Caleb is in a good situation this week. He put up some good numbers last week. We haven't really seen Caleb produce fantasy-wise rushing like I think a lot of us thought we would this year. And his turnovers are point killers. If it's just a fact right now. They're turning the ball over too much, and he's really taking away his upside by taking away those points. And some of these leagues, like we saw last week, are -4 points in some of these leagues for interception. I mean, 2 interceptions, that's 8 points. So I'm going to go Baker in this situation.
I'll start at the quarterback position. So Baker is probably the better floor for not having a completely poor game.
Good point.
But the last 2 games, Baker Mayfield has not really done much. 1 touchdown, 1 interception in both games. And he's not really getting the ball to Mike Evans the way that I imagined. The Philadelphia Eagles defense is coming off a really good game, too, where they put an extra man in the box, figured out a way to get pressure on the quarterback, which they weren't doing in the first 2 weeks. Jalen Carter playing amazing football right now. I think he's going to have a good day trying to get after Baker Mayfield. The Bucs are dealing with a ton of injuries as well right now. That team is just completely banged up on both sides of the ball. I'm going Caleb Williams. I think it would be a much more risky play, but you have that high-end type of potential, I feel like, with Caleb Williams. And who are they going up against? The Rams, right? The Rams defense has not been all that great this year. They're trying to figure out how to supplement for not having Aaron Donald on the field. And, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk are like kind of getting their feet wet now. You did see Jared Verse have a pretty decent game last week. But I just think that they're susceptible to offenses moving the ball down the field on them. So for me, I'm definitely going to go Caleb at quarterback. With the other two pick twos here, I got to go Brandon Ayuk because it's like, he's on my roster for one, and I'm just waiting for that. Where's those breakout games that we had last year? A ton of them when he was a top 3 wide receiver in the league. Now you got paid. We're now entering week 4. All that, training camp nonsense should be behind you. You need to go out here and ball out with your guys in the lineup. I think with Debo and with Kittle in the lineup, it should help Ayuk to be able to get a little bit more open. And I'm going Tony Pollard. Both these guys are in my lineup today.
So we're on the same page with Ayuk. Pollard, I'm not mad at the Pollard decision or the Caleb decision. I think those two things are really tight as far as your point differential between those guys. Big shout out to Kevin the PRF, our guy. Shout out to Commanders. Dallas Goedert or Mr. Disappointment Travis Kelce. Where you going? Where are you going?
I think I'm going to go Dallas Goedert just for like one more week. Wait for Kelce. It's Kelce's play. He's not just going to fall off a cliff and be absolute trash, but teams are just scheming him up. He's just not, really being productive out there thus far. But I just wait. Kansas City started off slow last year and people were panicking as well. So I would just wait a little bit. Once it gets colder, Travis Kelce going to show up in a major way. But I like this matchup for Dallas Goedert this week.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I think that it's just you're probably going to bench Travis Kelce, and he's probably going to have his breakout game. That's just how fantasy football works.
Yep.
Okay, so you just got to kind of, go with that risk, because this is a great week to take that risk and start Goddard over Travis Kelce. Goddard is going to be the number 1 target for Jalen Hurts today. He might get 17 targets today because I'm pretty sure there's no Devonta Smith, no A.J. Brown. And the other little mini Wes Welker, he's out for 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
The starting
no Antoine Winfield Jr. for the Bucs as well. Vita Vea's coming in banged up in this game. Yeah, there's just too many injuries for the Bucs.
Yeah, so I think Goddard is going to be the guy today. I think he is going to have a smash mouth game. Dallas Goedert
had a huge game last week too. Last week.
Killed it. We have 170 something receiving yards or something like that.
Yeah, so something ridiculous. And most of his damage done in the second half.
Yeah, this is a good week for Dallas Goedert. Big shout out to It's Brennan. Says, what's up, fellas? Travis Kelce or Braylon Allen for a flex spot?
I like Braylon Allen right now. I think he's on the up and up. They double dipped at the running back position, and they got 2 studs over there. I'm with it.
I think I'm going to have to agree with Braylon Allen as well, because you're probably getting this similar outcome with a big play opportunity situation with Braylon Allen. So I'm going to go with Braylon Allen as well.
Goal line touches. They're going up against the Broncos. That game should be a game that they should be able to control and probably have won within 3 quarters and be running the ball in the last quarter.
This is a very interesting one. Drake London or Garrett Wilson from Kevin the PRF?
I'm going Garrett Wilson. I'm just, Drake London had a good game last week, and he is becoming a more physical type of wide receiver for his build. I look at Drake London in a very similar lens as like Christian Watson, but Drake London is starting to now ascend a little bit, and you're starting to see him make those intermediate catches, those quick slants, some of the stuff he struggled with when he had bad quarterback play over there. I don't think it's like a drastic difference between one or the other in this matchup, being that the Jets are probably going to get the lead, I'd say, by half. But I just like the big play potential from Garrett Wilson, and he's clearly, like a guy that Aaron Rodgers loves to target.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. I think Drake London has a good game today. Now, Garrett Wilson is going to have the Patrick Surtain matchup today. So it just depends. In my opinion, it depends on how much of a matchup guy you are. I know a lot of people who play fantasy football, they will live and die on the matchup hill. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson, too. Don't
forget that Saints defense, too. That Saints defense is really good. I think that gives us more reason for Garrett Wilson.
I just think that Garrett Wilson, I don't want to say he's matchup proof because he's not there yet, but I think he's going to get there this year. I think him and Aaron Rodgers are starting to get on the same page. I think the more and more Aaron Rodgers plays football for this Jets offense, it's going to keep getting better and better. So I'm going to go Garrett Wilson also. This next question is a really interesting one to me. Big shout out to Hunter for this question. Xavier Worthy or Jawan Jennings? Xavier Worthy came out on the scene first week, and the ceiling was missing. It was an experience, right? And I was like, this is the guy I wanted to draft.
Yeah, you cashed in those receipts pretty early. I remember.
Yeah, very early. And it has not looked the same since. And it's tough in Kansas City because there's just so many things that they do, and they're not relying on one guy. But I would think that I'm not sure what Kareem Hunt's status is this week. Is he up from the practice squad, and is he going to play? But I would think that they would try to work Xavier Worthy in situations like, some jet sweeps and stuff like that to kind of get the ball in his hand, especially without Isaac Pacheco in the lineup. But Jawan Jennings, like I said, I just think that his targets are going to drop so drastically with Kittle and Debo back in the lineup.
Yeah.
So you're probably looking at very similar, volume here. I want to go Xavier Worthy. I'm going to give him one more week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Xavier Worthy, too. I think Rashee Rice has been kind of taken away from some of those targets and stuff like that over there. But like you said, Jennings' targets are probably going to go down with the 49ers this week. So he's going to have to rely on probably some big plays or getting in the end zone. I think this isn't that difficult of a decision. Either guy is going to give you some decent productivity, but I'd go Xavier Worthy. They are going up against a tough defense this week, though, against the Chargers.
They are. And big shout out to Marjorie, our always dropping the Marge bombs in the chat. She's dropping some of the actives and inactives that are coming out right now. We are going to get just now. Jordan Love is active. Chris Olave is active. Alvin Kamara is active. And Keenan Allen is also active. Inactives, Jair Alexander, CJ Mosley, and Joe Mixon is inactive again. So that means Cam Akers will be RB1 in Houston once again. So let's get to a couple more questions, and then we're gonna give you guys some sleep. We're gonna give you guys some sleepers for this week. So big shout out to our guy Cookie Monster in the building. Says, "What's up, fellas? I need to start 3: Pickens, Moore, Odunze, Brian Thomas Jr. or Watson." That's a. Whew. Where are you going with this, Awthentik? Because that's tough.
I should have put Odunze in my bench section this week because I did put him on the bench, but he had a pretty damn good game last week, his highest fantasy output all year. I like Pickens and Moore, and it's funny because I'm in this exact situation. I have Moore and I have Odunze, and I just don't see myself putting 2 Chicago Bears wide receivers in the starting lineup. So I think whatever you do in this situation, roll with Pickens, roll with Moore, pick between Brian Thomas Jr. and Watson. For me, it's not easy. That's not easy, but I'd probably go Brian Thomas Jr.
I think I'm right there with you. The tough one for me is the choice between Moore and Odunze. Like you said about the Rams defense, one of those guys is probably going to have a significant game considering the total team output as far as offense goes. But we're both agreeing on Pickens. To make this easy, I'll go with Moore. And I'm also going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. I was looking at Brian Thomas Jr.'s numbers as I was putting together some DraftKings lineups today. He's averaging, for an offense that stinks right now in Jacksonville, he's averaging, between 9 and 12 fantasy points. So I think he's kind of been one of those rookies that is flying under the radar right now at the wide receiver position. So I'm going to agree with Awthentik. I'm going to go Pickens, Moore, and Brian Thomas Jr. Don't forget to keep those questions coming in the chat. We're going to get to the remainder of the questions right after this next segment. But up next, this is the one you want to listen to here on Awthentik and The Beard. It's time for us to give you our sleepers for Week 4 fantasy football. All right, I'm going to let Awthentik start this one off. We have one similar selection here. I'm curious to see how he rings in this conversation about this particular player.
Listen, man, I'm going with 2 of the same players that I had in the sleeper section last week. If you was not here and you're not listening up, I said that Justin Fields was going to get the ball in the end zone once, 2 times on the ground. I missed it by 1 touchdown on the ground. He had 1-1 this past week. So I like Justin Fields going up against this Colts defense. Over 20 fantasy points for the first time last week. He had 245 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. And I think, like, you look at the game that Caleb Williams just had against the Colts last week, it gives a lane for Justin Fields to go out here and have even a bigger game and prove that maybe he's the better quarterback that was coming out of Chicago here one time. Caleb Williams had 363 last week. And also, you already know my dog coming out the Ivy League one time, wide receiver Andre Yosivas going up against the Carolina Panthers. Back-to-back games in PPR leagues with 13 fantasy points. Had 4 targets in week 2. T. Higgins came back on the field, and that number damn near doubled. He had 7 targets last week. This dude is finding the end zone every week. I like the matchup, too, going up against the Panthers. And the one that the Beard was talking about that we have in common here is Cordell Patterson going up against the Colts this week. No Jaylen Warren. Steelers like to commit to the run. That's their identity. That's their game. Week 3, he had a pretty decent game, too. 4 rushes for 33 yards, 3 receptions, 15 yards on 5 targets. That's pretty effective. Considering the limited amount of touches, I expect those numbers to go up this week. Give me Cordell Patterson to round out my sleepers.
Absolutely love it. Love Cordell Patterson. I think people forget how crazy that year he had was a couple years ago. Just the almighty Swiss Army knife. He just does
Arthur
it all.
Smith, man. Arthur Smith. He's like, I know a player over here we could get for real cheap. Let's bring him over here with me. He's calling the plays over there. A lot of people were worried about him with the Pittsburgh Steelers, too. And I think he's doing a good job, being that he's kind of strapped for personnel, too.
Oh, yeah. Given what he has to deal with, I think he's done fairly well so far. I mean, they are 3-0, but I also love Cordell Patterson. Jacoby Myers, okay? No Devontae Adams. So far this year with Devontae Adams, he's averaged 5.6 targets a game, 50 yards a game, 4.6 receptions, and 12.5 fantasy points. So I think Jacoby Myers has a game today. He's a guy that I think, kind of flies under the radar all the time. He produces, he just never really you might not get those 20-point games for him, but he can get you those 12 to 19-point games consistently. So I like Jacoby Myers, and I like his situation this week without Devontae Adams. Speaking of wide receivers, how about Michael Wilson going against the Washington Commanders? I mean, you could probably pick anybody on the Arizona Cardinals team this week and just start them all. Going against the Commanders secondary, which is the worst in the National Football League. He's already averaging 9 fantasy points per game, even with Marvin Harrison Jr. there. Last week, he had 9 targets on 8 catches. He had 8 catches on 9 targets. So I expect him to put up a pretty good game this week against the Washington Commanders. And then to kind of throw you guys a couple more, Xavier Legette, who's a guy Awthentik and I both really like, as a wide receiver coming out of the draft. Unfortunately, he did go to the Carolina Panthers. So it'll be interesting to see if he can finally have a breakout game now that Adam Thielen is going to be out this week and probably for a couple of weeks. I think he landed on the IR and he's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. So this could be a breakout game for Xavier Legette. And then one more to throw you guys, Rachaad White. I put him in my sit section. If you weren't here on Thursday night, I am going Bucky this week.
That's your guy.
Bucky's averaging. We talked about how bad Rachaad White's yards per carry were. Bucky is averaging 6.1 yards per attempt. So I think we got a big Bucky week ahead of us. So we'll see how that goes. But those are some of our sleepers this week. We're going to get to a couple more questions before we get you guys to every single game this week. We will pick the winner, and we will pick the spread, and we will pick the over and the under. Big shout out to Kevin W. Says, which 2 out of the 3 would you start out of Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, or Deontay Johnson?
It's a good one. I mean, your guys' wide receivers had a lot of success against Cincinnati. Like, Deontay Johnson seems like the odd man out for me here. It's 3 good receivers. The Browns matchup this week is going to be against the Raiders. No Max Crosby in that game, too. Yeah. So I'm going to take Amari Cooper. And Terry McLaurin and Deontay Johnson could be a coin flip because Cincinnati's secondary hasn't been good either. But I'm going to go Terry McLaurin.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I'm riding the Deontay Johnson wave. I think, I think that
You're invested now.
I am invested. I'm starting him in my own personal teams and on DraftKings. So I'm gonna go Deontay Johnson and Terry McLaurin in this matchup. I do understand the Amari Cooper situation and why Awthentik would pick him. I'm just so down on Cleveland right now, and I don't know what's going to happen week in and week out with them. Like it's just so bad, and I mean Vegas isn't much better. I mean they go and they beat the Ravens, and then the next week they get mollywopped by the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
So that's two teams that like are just super like up and down. So it's going to be a roller coaster either way.
The matchup in that one though. What I like about it for Cleveland is with no Max Crosby, that is how Deshaun Watson can have a good game, and it'll be off script. When you have a defensive front and, you send in those linebackers and those second-level blitzes at him, he obviously struggles, and I think that's why Shane Bowen a week ago really attacked him like that. But if they can't get after him in this game, I do think Deshaun Watson still has a little bit of capability to make some plays with his legs and throw the ball down the field.
Big shout out to C-Bands, Never Stay Lacking 45. Says, what's going on, fellas? Do I start Chris Godwin or Mike Evans?
I'll go Mike Evans. I think
Or is he asking, do I start both?
Oh, he says, and Mike Evans. I mean, we don't know the other players, so I think we should assume he's saying or.
Okay.
Well, no, maybe he's saying, should he start the same two on the same team? Like, that. It's C-Bands. I mean, it all depends on who your other wide receivers are on your roster. I'll keep an eye out for it, and we'll answer it. We'll come back to it. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I will tell you this, that I would, if I were to pick two wide receivers on a team to start, like, and not feel bad about it, it would either be Nico Collins and Steph Diggs or Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and Godwin and Evans, I think, are two guys that I think also kind of fit that role, because Mike Evans probably gets you more touchdown opportunities and an opportunity for a big game, but Godwin gets you those PPR points. So I think it's kind of a good situation to have. I would not be opposed to starting both these guys. Obviously, what Awthentik said makes a lot of sense too. Like, it really depends on who else you have. But if you're in a tight jam and you want to start these two guys, I would not be mad about it. Now, if you had to choose,
defense has just been getting better, and that's where I'm a little bit worried about this one. But they will be playing from behind if the game goes the way I think. I think you picked the Bucks on the preview show.
I did.
I picked the Eagles in this one. I think the Eagles are kind of ascending as a defense, kind of figuring out their identity. But I don't know, man. It really, to me, just depends on the other guy. Like, if your other wide receivers are lower level than these two, I would start Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. But if you have somebody who's equal caliber, I think I would, wouldn't be opposed to putting that person in the lineup, and then you have a real decision to make, because Mike Evans hasn't gotten in the end zone this year, has he?
Nope, I don't think. No, he did against Washington 2 times.
Against Washington, yeah. That is, their offense kind of had that spark in week 1, and they haven't been the same since.
If you had to choose one, who would you choose, Godwin or Evans?
It's like, Godwin's going to be the more like reliable, higher floor. Mike Evans gives you the potential. I think Mike Evans, because Baker probably knows he has to get him involved in the game plan.
It's tough. If I had to, I think I would also go Mike Evans. Big shout out to James Jones, a.k.a. Lil TNT, says Travis Kelce or Mike Gesicki.
I'd go Travis Kelce.
Yeah, you got to go Kelce. That's a different situation than Dallas Goedert. I like Gesicki, and I think he's a great tight end. But they've been mixing in that young guy, too, over there in Cincinnati. I forget the guy's last name, Hall or Hill, something like that.
Yeah. I've got Gesicki in my lineup today.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go Travis Kelce there. Oh, we're going back-to-back max ends. Max Webster says Dalton Kincaid or Brock Bowers.
Kincaid, I mean, the Bills are going to try to put up some points today, man, and Josh Allen is, oof. Yeah, give me Dalton Kincaid.
I got to go Bowers. Bowers until otherwise notified. I think he's averaging 12-plus points of fantasy a game, which has got to be top 3 tight end. So I'm going Bowers for now. Big shout-out to Vincent. Says T. Higgins, George Pickens, or Jacoby Myers, PPR.
I like that you put Jacoby Myers in your sleeper section. I'd pair him with Pickens. I mean, but Higgins was making some plays last week, though. It just, when you looked at the stat box at the end of that game, I was really surprised to see that Higgins didn't have a bigger game. I think he had a couple plays called back on penalty, too. Give me Pickens and give me Myers.
You can only choose one.
Oh, just one. Then it's George Pickens.
I'm going to go T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins has a much better game this week than he did last week.
The matchup is good for him, too.
but it's tough. I think all three of those guys are a good opportunity to play. So you're in a good position, but it sucks to be in a good position in fantasy football sometimes. Big shout out to Doom checking in from Twitch. Says fantasy question of the day. I know I can't really go wrong with this choice, but Josh Allen or Jaden Daniels, also Princeton or Watson.
Princeton or Watson.
We both agreed in this particular situation to go with Josh Allen. I have that problem personally. I decided to go with Josh Allen, and then. I think Awthentik has convinced me. I'm gonna go Princeton over Watson.
Yeah, man. Yo, Seaboss is a guy right now, dog. I'm telling you. They found a little gem.
Yes, they did. Big shout out to Doom checking in once again from Twitch. Says Roma Dunze or Garrett Wilson?
I go Garrett.
I think we're going Garrett Wilson. Up next, this one's fascinating. Max Webster says Mike Evans or Travis Etienne.
The Jaguars have been, and they're not going to win this week either. The Texans are coming off that tough loss. They're not going to lose to the Jaguars. I just can't see it. Going to abandon the run early. God damn, give me Mike Evans. I hate that I'm even saying that. But give me Mike Evans.
We have to go Mike Evans until otherwise proven otherwise. So we're going Mike Evans. All right, here we go. This is a detailed one. Ubiquitous says 12 team half 12 team half point PPR beat a wide receiver and a flex.
The beard, bro. Yo. The beard. All right, so 12 team half point PPR here. Need wide receiver and a flex. All right, so two of these guys here. Definitely a wide receiver here and a flex. All right. This is good. I like this. I actually like this one. This is kind of a tough one to answer here. Zach Moss was looking all right last week, but it seemed like that other running back was getting a little bit better type of opportunities with his touches. What's homie's name? Chase Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was running the ball pretty well. I think I'm going to go two wide receivers here. I'm going to go. What's the Falcons matchup? One more time. It's
Saints.
Okay. No Drake London. Give me Terry McLaurin, George Pickens.
Right there with you. Terry McLaurin and George Pickens as well. We got another one checking in from Twitch. Tyler.
Twitch is booming.
XIII said who to sit, Olave, Reed, or Wilson? Garrett Wilson, I'm assuming.
They just announced Jordan Love, so that makes that better for Jaden Reed. Damn. Coming off an injury, though, what you think, man?
It's tough for me. I'm playing Jaden Reed a lot today. I'm playing Jaden Reed. I just think that he's even if Jordan Love, like, they take him out and they put Malik Willis in.
Yeah.
I still think Jaden Reed, Olave, I love Olave. I think he's been playing great ball this year, but he's also a little banged up himself. I'd rather have a wide receiver with a banged up quarterback with a good backup quarterback than a wide receiver who's banged up himself. So I'm going to sit Olave.
I'm not mad at that. And even when the Saints are getting big plays, it's coming from Rashid Shaheed anyway, you know? So you're looking at an offense that really doesn't like to throw the ball a ton. Derek Carr, the attempts super low. I like it. Yeah, I definitely like it. I think we sit Olave.
And then up next, we got Kevin W. says, Andy Dalton, Aaron Rodgers, or Caleb Williams, point per completion, lose points for sacks and interceptions, and you lose points for every 5 incompletions.
Caleb. Point per completion, lose points for sacks, interceptions, and every 5 completions. Andy Dalton, Aaron Rodgers, or Caleb. Give me Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going Aaron Rodgers as well. I thought about it, and I was like, Andy Dalton and Caleb Williams probably are going to get sacked a lot more than Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to go Aaron Rodgers as well. And then we got Jay Stacks says PPR. Jamison Williams or Terry McLaurin. That's an interesting one.
What has Jamison Williams been doing as of late? I haven't kept my eyes on Detroit. Their offense seemed to be a little bit lackluster, but let me see if I can get these numbers real quick just to see
And while Authentic looks that up, if we have a mod in the chat on YouTube, if you guys want to get rid of all games streaming on an
Oh yeah, please do that.
Thank you. Guys.
So he's had back to back. Okay, well, he started the season with back to back monster games. And then last week, he only had one reception for 9 yards. But before that, 5 for 79, 5 for 121, and a touchdown week 1. And today they're going to be going up against
Seattle on Monday night, I think.
Seattle on Monday night, yeah. Seattle's defense has been decent. I think I like the Jameson Williams play.
I do too, because this is the thing. Jameson Williams, they're probably very similar because they're not going to get as many catches in a PPR.
Yeah.
So you're kind of looking at the big play. McLaurin showed you the big play last week. I'm going to go Jameson Williams in this particular situation. It's tough because I want to go McLaurin, but I think Jameson Williams is probably the better play. And our last question before we start picking every single game this week. Big shout out to Fear the Puff to continue the trend on Twitch today.
Yo, Twitch is popping today. What's going on here? The algorithm is algorithmic.
The algorithm
says
10. I think that means 10 team PPR pick 2 flex. Mike Evans, David Montgomery, Kenneth Walker, Jameson Williams, Chuba Hubbard, Jordan Addison.
Ooh, I like Jordan Addison coming back, and I'm a big fan of David Montgomery. He stays in my lineup, so give me those two. And I'd pair them with.
That's it. You get 2.
Oh, I thought he said, pick 2 and 1 is a flex. Okay, so that's what he means there. Commas be killing me when you ain't got them. So just 2, Jordan Addison, David Montgomery.
I love David Montgomery. All he does is give you fantasy points. I'm going to go David Montgomery, and I'm going to stick with my gut and my trend of Mike Evans this week. So I'm going to go Mike Evans and David Montgomery.
Good shit.
We appreciate all the questions in the chat. Hopefully we helped you guys enough to get some W's this week. It is now time for rapid fire. We're going to pick each and every single game this week in week 4 of the NFL. We're going to tell you the winners. We're going to pick the overs and the unders and the spreads. And hopefully give you guys some opportunities here to make some parlay bets yourselves.
I'm seeing that Cowboys-Giants game still there from Thursday.
I know. I saw it there, too.
I'm thinking about when you picked the Giants, right? I peeked over at the chat, and there was somebody in the chat that said, keep picking against the Giants, Authentic. I was like, all right.
I did see that. I wanted to pick the Cowboys. I did, but here we are. We're 0-1 this week. Time to get back on the horse. First game on the slate, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 0-3. They are 5.5-point favorites. They are headed to Carolina to face the Andy Dalton Red Rifles. And they're 1-2. The over-under in this game is 7.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I think this one's a little easy for me. I think Andy Dalton kind of comes back down to earth just a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to have a bad game or nothing, but give me the Bengals. I think the Bengals will cover the 5.5. I'm going to take the under 47.5.
I'm going to take Cincinnati to win, okay? I want to take Carolina to cover so bad. Listen, if you really feeling froggy, if you want to buy a couple of points, take Carolina like plus 7.5. I would be comfortable with taking Carolina to cover that. I think Cincinnati wins by a touchdown. Carolina scores a late touchdown to kind of make it look closer than it is. But I'm going to take the over 47.5, actually. I think that we get a little bit of fun times in this game. So
I just want to warn you here, this week is very pivotal for you. I know we didn't get the tallies from last week's wins and losses quite yet. And shout out to Gregory. I did see Gregory in the chat who's been helping us with that as well. But I'm pretty certain you're behind in the win-loss column here to your boy Authentic. I'm pretty certain.
Maybe. Well, it'll be interesting to see how your team were faring in the spreads and over-unders.
Yeah, I was one game up on you entering the past week. So, I looked at the way those games went. I wasn't missing too many.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yep, so pick with your mind and not with your heart today. Just a reminder.
My mind is my heart. Up next,
your mind is telling you no.
my body's telling me yes. Up next, the New Orleans Saints Saints. They're 2-1. They're headed to Hotlanta to face the Falcons, who are 1-2. The Falcons are favored by 2.5 points in this game. The over/under is OE.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna go with the Saints to win. And I'm gonna take
off to a good start, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna take the over 40.5 here.
I'm going to go with the Falcons, man. I think the Falcons are going to continue, from the trend that they had on Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles, and get back on track and whatnot. I like the way that offense has been looking. So give me the Atlanta Falcons in this one. I think they covered the 2.5. I'll take the over 40.5.
All right. Up next, the Jacksonville Authentic said you're going to 0-4 Jaguars are headed to H-Town to face the Texans, who are 2-1. Texans are 5.5-point favorites. Over/under is 44.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Texans all the way. Going to cover that 5.5. I'm going to take let me see, it'll probably be about like 31-10 maybe. I'll take the under 44.5.
All right, I'm going to take the Texans
that
to win.
sigh was your mind battling your heart right there. I heard
this is two of my favorite teams, remember?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Houston Texans to win. Texans to win. Jaguars to cover. And give me the over 44.5.
Evan Ingram ruled out in that game again, right?
Yep, but my under 4K guy playing tight end.
Good stuff.
Up next,
shout out to Lucas.
The Denver Broncos are 1-2. They're headed to New York to face the Jets, who are 2-1. The Jets are a whopping 7.5-point favorite. The over/under in this game is 39.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, it was a fun get right story. Everybody's happy for the Broncos. They're not that bad. Bo Nix had a couple of rushing touchdowns. It's not going to happen again. New York Jets to win. Jets to cover the 7.5. And give me the under 39.5. Gangster.
I'm right there with you. I think it'll be right under that 39.5, right around 38. Definitely taking the Jets to cover here. I think Aaron Rodgers is about to just start raising the bar as far as how his play is. He's looking really good out there in that Jets offense so far.
This next game, I think, is going to be one of the best games of the week. Minnesota Vikings. They are 3-0. They are headed to Green Bay, who is 2-1. Jordan Love is back. The Packers are 3-point favorites. The over/under 44.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I'm surprised that even though the Packers are at home, they're favored by 3. That's really interesting. I'm going to take the Packers to win this game, and I think it'll be an extremely close one. I think the Vikings have really put out a good product out there as far as the way their defense has played. Sam Darnold has been playing some really good ball. They are getting Addison back. That helps. This could be a little bit of a playoff preview here, surprisingly, because not a lot of people had the Vikings really making the postseason, but the way that they've played through 3 weeks, they've looked really good. I'm going to say the Vikings cover. The Packers get the W. I'm going to take the over 44.5.
I hate 3-point spreads because I feel like this game is going to be a 3-point game.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go exact. I'm going to go Green Bay to win, Green Bay to cover, and I'm going to take. Well, listen, I'm not going to take Green Bay to cover. By the half point. 3 points is a horrible spread. Never bet a 3-point spread.
Yeah.
Give me Green Bay to win, Minnesota to cover plus 3.5, and I'm going to take the over 44.5.
Ends on a game-winning field goal.
There we go. That'd be fantastic. Up next, the surprising 3-0 teams continue. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-0. They're 2.5-point favorites. They're headed up to Indianapolis to face the Colts, who are 1-2. The over-under in this game is 40.5, which kind of surprised me. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think this game is relatively close. I do think Pittsburgh finds a way to win. That defense is just so good right now. And Anthony Richardson is still learning on the job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Steelers to win, Steelers to cover. I'm going to take the under 40.5.
I like it. I think, we'll definitely be around the under, I'd say. It's going to be close. About 38, I think. 39 total in this one, but I'm in agreement with you. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they'll cover that 2.5. Colts, man, that defense is just not good, and it's not helping out Richardson. But today, I think Anthony Richardson's going to have a really good fantasy day. They're going to rely on his legs a lot more today.
It's going to be an interesting one to watch for sure. Up next, the Los Angeles Rams. They're 1-2. They're headed to Chi-Town. Big shout out to Derrick Rose, by the way, who retired this week. The Chicago Bears are 1-2. The Bears are 3-point favorites. Over-under in this game is 40.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Rams. I have no faith in the Chicago Bears team right now. Give me the Rams to win. I'm going to take the over 40.5. Something stupid happens at the end of this game to get over 40.5.
What do you think the Bears are missing right now offensively? Is it offensive line? Is it the scheme? Didn't they bring in Shane Waldron from the Seattle Seahawks, and didn't JSN have some comments about him? They asked him, what should you expect from that offense and his coaching style, and he said he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. I think it's the line, and I think it's the scheme. I think it's both. But I think sometimes this is something that I think that but people don't really think about, because think about the Washington Commanders. Their line was horrendous last year, right? Yes, they brought in Jaden Daniels, which helps a lot. And they brought in Bobby Johnson, who most people thought was the worst coach in the history of coaches in the National Football League.
On the offensive line. Yeah, yes, for sure.
But for some reason, they seem to be doing okay. They have 2 new offensive linemen, but still, it's pretty much a lot of the same.
You want to know the real reason, though?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah. That's why.
And that's what
he knows how to keep his quarterbacks protected, and he knows to target mobile quarterbacks. That's his thing.
That's the scheme. So, yes, it's the offensive line, but if you have the right scheme, you can kind of mask some of those deficiencies on offensive line. So that for me is pretty much what it is.
And Marjorie says their run game sucks. And that's kind of what I was alluding to. I think that the DeAndre Swift signing is just not a good marriage. They needed a back that can be reliable over there, down in, down out. They didn't have that, and I think they're suffering from that as well.
Where are you going with this game, though?
I'm going to take the Rams. I think the Rams, I'm going to take the under on this one, and I just think the Rams will, they're going to take this one. I'm surprised that Chicago's favored. I know they're at home, but I'm surprised.
Yeah, me too. Kyron Williams, big game for him incoming. I'm calling that right now.
That front flip last week.
Oh, he's a guy. Shout out Notre Dame. Big win.
Yeah.
Up next, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 2-1. They're 1.5-point favorites, headed down to what was the new name we've given them? Is it the Tampa Buccaneers? Tampa Bucky Buccaneers.
Tampa Baker Buccaneers.
There we go.
That's what it is.
The over-under in this game is 43.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic. Do you remember what you got?
Yeah, Eagles cover. I'm going to take the over 43.5. I can't remember what I took on the preview show, but I'm going to take the over 43.5. I do think there'll be some points in this one, but yeah, Eagles win it. Eagles cover.
You had 23-17 in this one.
Ooh, so I was just under.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the script there, man. Let's take the under.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay to win. Tampa Bay to cover, and I'm taking the over.
I see what you did there. You set me up so that if they win and I lose on the over-under, I got you. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing over there.
I'm just showing you that I'm keeping detailed.
Had the book that said, hey, well, I'm actually on the preview show, you said.
Up next, the New England Stinktriots are going to San Francisco. New England's 1-2. San Francisco's a shocking 1-2. This is the biggest spread of the weekend. Remember, first 3 weeks of the season, the largest underdog has won outright, including the Patriots week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals. The 49ers are favored by 10.5 points. Over-under in this game is 40.5. So that basically means that they think that it's going to be like 30-10. San Francisco. I'm going to take San Francisco to win.
Obviously.
Do they cover 10.5 points? They do. They do, don't they? This is a mollywop, isn't it?
They do.
We get over 40.5? I don't think so.
I think we do.
Okay, so we agree on everything except for the over. I'm going to take San Francisco to win, San Francisco to cover. Give me the under 40.5.
I like it.
Up next, it's the greatest team on Earth. The Washington Commanders. I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that because you knew I was going to do that. The Washington Commanders are 2-1. They're headed down to Arizona. Big shout out to our guy. If you guys want to get a little insight every once in a while on the Arizona Cardinals, check out the Cardinal Rule on YouTube. He's also on Twitter. Great guy, friend of the show. So check them out. The Commanders are 2-1. They're headed to Arizona. The Cardinals are 1-2, but they're better than that 1-2 shows. The Cardinals have are favored by 3.5 points. The over/under is a whopping, the biggest one on the slate, I believe, 50.5. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going with my Commanders. And I'm taking the over.
I like it. I really want to flip-flop my pick here. I picked the Cardinals on the preview show, and I really think y'all have a good shot in this game. And, the Cardinals are not it feels eerily similar to the Cincinnati Bengals matchup last week. It's they have the potential to be able to go out there and beat the Commanders, obviously because the Commanders' defense is just so horrid through 3 games this year. But I do think that this is a game where if Jaden Daniels can connect on the big plays, get the explosives down the field, Washington should be able to win this one. But I'll stick with the script. I'll go Arizona. And I think Arizona will cover the 3.5. I can't remember if I picked the over/under on this one on the preview show. If you can get that real quick, I'm feeling under vibes. I don't know why. You know these games where you think they're going to be a boat race. Sometimes they aren't.
Oh no, you took the over, my friend.
Took the over. Let's stick with it then. We'll take the over.
You had 58 total points for that one.
God,
up next, the
crazy what a couple of days can do to your sanity.
Kansas City Chiefs are 3-0. They're 7-point favorites. They're headed to LA to face the Chargers. Chargers are 2-1. Over under in this game is 41.5. Kickoff is 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I'm going to go Chiefs, get the dub, but I think the Chargers will cover the 7. I think it'll be a little bit of a closer game. And the 41.5. I mean, the Chargers have been in a bunch of low-scoring games, but I think we'll get to the over in this one.
It's tough for me because Justin Herbert's so banged up. He's playing again, but it's does he make it through the game? And I don't know what the Chargers are thinking, putting in Taylor Heineke instead of Easton Sticks. I think they learned their lesson real quick on that one.
Easton Stick, he ain't done nothing.
It looks better than Taylor Heineke. But I'm going to take
I'm not going there. I see how you try to brush by that, but I'm not going there. Taylor Heineke's a viable backup option. Taylor Heineke can win you a game on a good team as a backup.
Yeah, maybe. Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to take them to win. I hate 7-point spreads. I'll take the Chargers to cover. Mahomes has thrown an interception in 18 of his last 19 games. I'll take the over 41.5 as well. Up next, this game is probably going to be the most disgusting game of the day. The Cleveland Browns, they're 1-2, 2.5-point favorites. They're headed to Vegas, who's also 1-2. Over/under is showing you that. It is a disgusting 36.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the Raiders to win, and I'm going to take the over 36.5.
I definitely understand why you're going with that pick. The Browns offense has been just sketchy all damn year. A lot of it, I think, has to do with identity, philosophy, lacking weapons, not matching the game plan to the personnel. But I'm still going to go Browns in this one. When you lose to the Carolina Panthers, I gotta question. I gotta give you one of them. I
understand.
What the fuck is going on here, bro? I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns in this one. I think they'll cover the 2.5, and let's go over 36.5. Let's see what happens there.
Up next is probably the game, perfect Sunday night game. The Buffalo Bills are 3-0. They're headed to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. Over/under in this game is 46.5.
You going first?
Is 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, I love Buffalo, and I admitted it last week. I think Buffalo proved me wrong early. I had very much concerns of this team without all of the players that left over the last 2 seasons. Let's just throw in 2 seasons. But, man, they are playing hella good football. Josh Allen, I think, is probably your MVP frontrunner right now. But I think this is the best team they've faced so far. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to win this game, and I'm going to take the over 46.5.
You're definitely picking with the heart. I'd hate to see Lamar lose another game here because they started off so slow at 0-2. I don't think they can get over the hump here. The Bills are just really good. Quarterback is just great. Give me the Bills in this one. Give me the over. Yep. I don't know how Baltimore's favored in this game. I don't know how.
Don't ask
Sunday
me.
night. That's going to be fire.
Ask
That's
Vegas.
Be a great way.
And again, we get 2 Monday night games.
Why don't they do them at different, like, stagger the times more? Like, start one at 6, start a West Coast one at, 9 o'clock. So at least I know this game is kind of over by the time I start the other one. But, like, having 2 screens up on a Monday night is kind of, come on, dog.
Yeah, especially at our age now. Listen,
yeah,
one of these games they should have just flexed into like a Sunday morning in London or something because the Tennessee Titans are 0-3. They're headed to South Beach to face the Dolphins, who are 1-2. And gin and juice will be served on the sidelines as Snoop will be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, who are favored by 2.5 points. Over under this game is 37.5. Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I definitely got confused there because I thought you said the over under was 77.5. I was about to be like, golly. But I don't understand how Miami's favored in this game either. I mean, you're bringing in a new quarterback. I'm sure it's going to help things out a little bit, but they have not looked good. I'm going to go Tennessee Titans in this one outright. I will take the under. I'm going to take the under 37.5. I think that the Dolphins are going to struggle to score 10 points in this game, but we'll see.
If Skylar Thompson was starting at quarterback, I would pick the Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
And the Tennessee Titans are kind of a disappointment because I think both of us thought that they made some really good additions in the offseason to kind of be a sneaky team. They just can't put it all together.
Losing games in the fourth quarter for them, too, in the first 2 weeks was like, come on.
Tough losses. Just a lot of nasty stuff going on here. I think Snoop brings some excitement to this game and to this Miami Dolphins offense. Give me the Dolphins to win, Dolphins to cover, and I'm going to take the over 37.5.
They're riding that Cam Ward high from Friday night. Miami's feeling some type of way right now. We'll see. I like the Titans in this one, man. Get back on track.
In the second Monday night game, it is the Seattle Sea Chickens, who are 3-0. They are headed to Motown to face the Lions, who are 2-1. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites. Over under in this game is voted 6.5. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Sunday night game looks amazing. This to wind down the whole entire week 4. I like this game. I like this matchup. It's two teams that I feel like need this win badly, even though Seattle coming into this game pretty hot right now. But, moving forward, trying to get to the playoffs, these are those games you're going to look back at and be like, if we can get this W, this is going to be one of them ones. With that said, I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks for the upset in this one. I'm going to take the over 46.5.
I like this game too, and I think Seattle definitely has a chance to win. I'm going to take Detroit to win. I'll take Seattle to cover. I think it's a 3-point win for the Detroit Lions, but I am also going to take the over 46.5. I think this turns out to be a pretty exciting game to end out the week. Ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Rapid Fire here on Authentic and The Beard, the Parlay, the best television show. Not on television, the best division in football. And, that's going to round it all out for us. We're getting out of here. Great time for you guys to kind of take everything that we gave you, digest it with some eggs. I'm about to go downstairs and scramble myself some eggs. And
good stuff.
Get down and sit
how
down.
do your eggs be? Do you cook good eggs?
Oh, man, come on. You know I be whipping. Because, listen, it depends. It depends. What? You know I be whipping.
I mean, when we lived together, all we ate was fast food and 7-Eleven.
I didn't go shop. I didn't go to the grocery store for like 4 years because I worked at the restaurant. I never had to buy food.
He's not lying. He's not lying.
So, I like to scramble my eggs. Sometimes I make them a little runny, but I like a lot of salt and pepper and a little bit of hot sauce.
Cheese on eggs, no?
Cheese in, but I put my cheese inside the egg and then whip it up and then dump it in. You know what I'm saying?
I like it. Good
and
vibes.
Then if I'm making a sandwich, I put a little bit
if you're making a
egg sandwich, I put a little sriracha mayonnaise on the bread.
Yo, PJ's in the building just destroying your eggs right now.
Listen, just the one thing my wife does, I can't stand. She puts ketchup on her eggs.
See, I'm like, so I won't put ketchup on the eggs, but I will have like a hash brown on the side with ketchup on it, and if it start touching, I'm not too angry.
You want to know what's really good with hash browns? Sweet and sour sauce from McDonald's.
Might not be too bad.
It's very good.
Yeah, it might not be too
bad. I had a McGriddle the other day, and I haven't had a McGriddle in a long time. Yeah. It was actually kind of crack.
Not a big fan of those.
I also had a very good breakfast sandwich from 7-Eleven.
So I told you, that's all we lived off of, fast food and 7-Eleven.
Have you ever had breakfast pizza?
Oh, definitely. Aldi has a fire breakfast pizza, but it's rarely there.
Yeah.
Bomb. Creamy sauce. Oof.
I'm hungry now. Shout out to the chat. We appreciate you guys for joining us. Do you have any upcoming streams over the next couple of days before Tuesday?
You know, I'm off today. It's kind of crazy. This is my only show, and I'm off today. So I'm going to just be watching some football. I might link up with some homies and go watch the game at like a little local bar around the corner. But I'm chilling, man. This week I'll be on Bleacher Report on Wednesday. No Giant Overreaction on Monday because we did it on Friday if you missed out on it. So
Tuesday
I'm actually going to be in the studio on Monday. I'm going to be putting in some work in the studio on Monday, taking a little football season break. Dude, speaking of the studio, bro, so I want to shout out my homies over there at Coordinate Studios. They called me up last night, middle of the night, and I just knew I couldn't do the session. This one hurt, bro. They hit me up and were like, we got Mariah Carey in the building. Can you make it? And I was like, I can't make it, bro. It hurt. She's going to be here all month, so there's a possible chance I'll get to work with Mariah Carey before the month's end. We'll see. They wanted to give me first dibs on it. I hope the session went well last night for whoever ended up taking that session, out of the crew. But big shout out to my homie Zach, my homie Julian, man. Really killing the studio game out here in the DMV area.
One last one before you send them out. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels?
Give me Lamar Jackson.
That's tough. I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels in that one.
Not too bad. I think you can't go wrong with either one of those quarterbacks.
Can't go wrong at all.
All right, so we ready for the sign-off, Beard?
Let's send them away.
All right, so first and foremost, big shout-out to all of y'all for supporting this channel and rocking out with us not only today, but rocking out with us through over these years. That's a pun to my guy, The Beard, right there. We just hit 5,000 subs, y'all, and that's a major accomplishment for us. We've been talking about that for the past year, trying to get to that benchmark. We got there, so salute to y'all for helping us out, getting there and whatnot. Definitely if you dig this content the way that I know most of these people that have been here rocking out with us over these years have, keep telling people, man, keep spreading that word because we definitely need that over here. A lot of people, I see these comments in our comment section a lot saying like, yo, man, you guys deserve more eyes on your content. And me and The Beard are totally cool with being here in this little corner of the internet called Awthentik and The Beard, the best division in football, the best television show not on TV. We're all good with that. But the more eyes that get seen or get put onto this content, the better it is for us. And definitely keep spreading that word. And Beard, I think after this week, I'm gonna have a pretty good head start on you throughout this 4 weeks of football. I got a good feeling about this week's picks. I'm feeling pretty swaggy right now.
That's not how you're supposed to end the show.
I just wanted to throw it out there. I just,
you threw it out there already.
I'm feeling like, you
did the play get called back and we had to redo the down? You threw it again?
Nah, this was like a flag that got thrown out on the field that, they picked it up and were like, actually, touchdown. But nonetheless, man, big shout out to The Beard, man, the best co-host in the country. Y'all know what it is, man. We've been rocking out for a long time. This is slowly but surely became, I won't even say slowly, just surely became one of the best things in my life. So shout out to the gang. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody that was holding us down on Twitch today, man. Twitch was booming today, man. That was good to see. And y'all know how we end every stream over here, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. And a life in black and white is a life without dreams, man. So y'all just keep raising that bar. We will catch y'all on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. That just seems ridiculous.
7 o'clock Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing the Week 4 recap of the NFC East, man. Big shout out to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack. And that's a wrap, y'all. Enjoy y'all Red Zone. Enjoy y'all football today, man. Y'all be good.
Peace.
Peace.